The multiplayer shooter genre has been in an odd flux these past few years. Call of Duty just isn't quite what it used to be, Battlefield 2042 missed the mark somewhat, and even Apex Legends has dipped in interest as it cruises into its 21st season of content. This is where a crop of new kids on the block have reared their heads, and XDefiant is one I have been waiting quite some time for. But is this really the COD killer that we were promised? XDefiant may not be the slam dunk that I was hoping for, but it's got the legs to grow into something special. Hello there everyone, it's Aaron here from Push Square, and let's check out our PS5 review of XDefiant. XDefiant is what I would call a multiversal shooter. Spanning the breadth of Ubisoft IP, this free-to-play release sees players take on the role of factions from franchises such as Splinter Cell and Far Cry in 6v6 game modes. Not only that, but each map is styled and based on locations from said franchises, from the Noodleplex in Watch Dogs 2 to an apocalyptic rendition of New York like in The Division. It's an interesting premise wrapped up in an old-school arcade shooter, harking back to the golden days of Call of Duty. As you may expect then, there is a certain simplicity to XDefiant that is infectiously enjoyable. There are no major game mode gimmicks, nor is there expansive lore-based reasons for echelon super spies to be battling it out against dead-sick cyber hackers. For some that may be a bit of a put-off, as you can find most of what XDefiant has to offer in other shooters, but the back-to-basics vibe to Ubisoft's latest is undeniably inviting. Of course, vibes only take you so far, so it's nice that we also have a snappy shooter on our hands here that feels leagues better than the beta that I played just over a month ago. There are aspects that do irritate, like the near stopped motion after a slide, but matches do feel fast paced, weapon handling is attuned, and the time to kill is quite well balanced in my opinion. It certainly isn't the best feeling shooter out there, and it lacks the distinct weightiness that you'd find even in the likes of Modern Warfare 3. I was also a little disappointed in the lack of haptics, which outside of detailed thumps when landing from a jump, are pretty lackluster. Thankfully, that's about the only letdown on the PS5 side of things. Its performance always feels smooth, and outside of some server teething issues, I never had an issue with the game's performance or usability. To add a little flavour into the mix, XDefiant is actually a hero shooter, with each faction offering up unique tactical and ultimate abilities. These range from fire-spewing drones to portable dome shields. It's a nice addition to the whole experience that's never quite in your face as much as Overwatch or Apex Legends. It does sort of take the back foot to the main gameplay experience, which can leave it feeling a little half-baked at times, but ultimately works with the tight-knit map design, which is straight out of old-school Call of Duty. Most of the maps here don a classic 3-lane design, and are one of the biggest strengths of XDefiant. With instant respawn times, you're back in action within seconds, and there's always some skirmish going on at each of the game's choke points. Whenever a match is popping off, you're constantly on a swivel, with enemies coming from all directions. Of course, it did lead to the occasional sweary word, I will not lie, and I just about managed to keep hold of my DualSense, but more often than not, it's an exhilarating, locked-in sense of play. For those looking for the next shooter to sink all of their time into, XDefiant is already prepared to keep you engaged. From a base game perspective, you have weapons, attachments, and skills to unlock via leveling up and completing specific challenges. Even the DedSec faction is locked behind a 700,000 XP earning challenge. Then you have weekly and daily challenges cropping up for extra XP, and of course the big, dull battle pass to work your way through. It's nice to have to grind for your rewards, but XDefiant lacks that satisfying uptick of levels where several matches can pass without any meaningful unlocks. As we look ahead to the weeks and months post-launch, Ubisoft has promised to bring new factions and maps from across its library of IP to the game, along with new seasonal content. It all sounds fairly promising, and Ubisoft certainly has a proven track record of supporting its multiplayer games. I mean, just look at Rainbow Six Siege or For Honor, and you'll catch a glimpse into the potential scope of XDefiant. However, the biggest issue for me right now is the severe lack of character on show here. Now, we're talking about the company behind several iconic franchises and characters spanning hundreds of years setting-wise and multiple genres. Yet what stands before us here today in day one is a rather grey military shooter. As a hero shooter too, where we are already playing as specific characters, Why can't we play as iconic ones like Sam Fisher from Splinter Cell or Vass from Far Cry 3? Similarly, I'm imagining maps set in Renaissance Italy right out of Assassin's Creed 2, or one can but dream of an Avatar Frontiers of Pandora inspired map. If I'm being honest, I do expect a lot of this to come to fruition in post-launch content and purchasable skins down the line, so there is still hope. But as it stands right now, XDefiant doesn't feel like it's really capitalizing on the potential of its premise with the 6 franchises it's already using. From a purely aesthetic perspective, this could be any other shooter, and it doesn't have to be that way. But after my time with the game, XDefiant is a solid shooter that will likely scratch that arcadey itch with its snappy gunplay, iconic map design, and fan favourite game modes. It is the perfect multiplayer shooter to just chuck on at the weekend, and I suspect that it'll be home to several late night sessions for old school Call of Duty fans. It's not quite the breath of fresh air for the genre that the finals is, but more like a blast from the past. Is it a COD killer? No, but if Ubisoft can work its magic and go hell for leather with its multi-franchise post-launch content, then XDefiant could flourish into a regular staple of the shooter genre. Thank you everyone for checking out our review of XDefiant. Let me know if you've been having fun with the game down in the comments below. While you're there, remember to like the video, that really helps us out, and if you'd like to see more PlayStation video content like this, then why not subscribe? Anyway, until next time, I've been Aaron, and this has been Push Square.